Thoughts and Friends podcast, episode 34, the second or third podcast we've done not in the same place.
Probably only the second.
I think second. I think we did one other when I was at home and you were here. Now we flip-flopped. I'm in studio and you are not.
Probably
34.
Next few will be
Who's our 34 episode? Can't think of anybody good.
Sweetness, baby. Walter Payton.
Sweetness. He's pretty
or
good.
The Truth. Paul Pierce. Whatever floats your boat.
Is Giannis also? What number is Giannis?
Giannis. Greek freak. All kinds of 3-4s.
We'll go. Well, it's the Giannis episode.
Walter Payton, though. R.I.P.
Yeah. Big rips
football today. Maybe the Walter Payton episode. I don't know.
One of the greatest. We'll go Sweetness.
Sure.
I'm in. What is not sweet is the game that we just watched. We're both University of Illinois fans, specifically very big basketball fans. They just lost. I think they were an 8-point favorite at Marquette. Not that matters. They lost the game. Instant reactions. Go ahead for any of our Illini listeners or just college basketball fans. Talk a little Illini what you just saw.
They look very bad. It is a little reassuring that we played basically the worst game I've ever seen this group of players ever play, and we lost by 1 point on the road against a team led by Shaka Smart that I think is probably a tournament caliber team. I don't think they're like a top 10 team by any means. We certainly should have beat them, but they're not awful. They've got some talented players. They've got the guy from Maryland that transferred, Morcell, who had a really good game, one of the best defenders in the country. And college basketball, like now to March, every team in the country is going to look completely different. And it's a lot of adjustments being made. So while they looked really bad, it's obviously a little early to be worried. It does feel good and bad that I'm going to have to bare my soul for this team again and get hurt like I did last year, because I think they're going to be good enough that it's going to be painful when they lose. At least I hope. Yeah. I was fully anticipating last year it was going to be, that's our 1 year and 15 after that. But we've got pretty much everyone back besides Io, which was very obvious tonight that we had everyone back except for Io.
I do want to talk about him.
That's going to be a problem.
I want to say I am worried. I'm very worried, but a few positives. You're right. Marquette is better than I thought they would be. They had a bunch of transfers come in. Shaka Smart's first season there. Our best player and preseason All-American, Kofi, was not playing in this game.
That's the other thing, yeah.
That's another positive. But we always talk this all the time. It's, can your best player, in this case, in this day and age, do you want them to be a center like he is? He's not a guy that can take the ball and get a good shot shot clocks late in the game. I don't love our ability to create late in the shot clock and late in close games. And they had one field goal in the last 7 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
I just think it's really a major problem.
I think it's a little different in college basketball where there are certain teams where you just have with a guy like Kofi, you have a distinct size advantage where they don't have a tire player on the roster that can guard him. He's just going to get his 10 shots around the basket, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. Certain teams, he's not going to be able to do that, but majority of the teams, he will be able to do that. And I don't know how much other college basketball you've watched early in the season. I've watched some of the bigger games, but a lot of the games, the offense has looked awful. I was UCLA Villanova. I mean, they didn't score it felt like 10 straight minutes. The Gonzaga Texas game was sort of similar. Like the offenses were not really clicking. I think it's a little jarring watching this after I've been watching the NBA for so long, where the offense is so easy for these guys, and it's like throwing rocks at each other. It's a different sport completely.
It was like pulling teeth. And I will say, I love
not to take anything away. They played horrible. They turned the ball over 26 times. Like that's not just like college basketball. That's bad college basketball.
I have underestimated the loss of Io DeSumo in this for this team. He has become a rotational bench player for the Bulls much faster than I thought he would be able to. I thought the loss of him we'd be able to adjust to more. Andre Curbelo, for someone who is supposed to be good and a all Big Ten type player, I'm not exaggerating, played the worst game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For a player that's supposed to be a very good player. He was truly dreadful. Like, I can't stress enough. He was awful decision-making, couldn't throw in the ocean. Seriously, like one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was crazy.
He was playing outside of himself. He was doing things that were not within his skill set as of now, and he was forcing it, whereas last year he deferred almost too much at times. Somewhere in between last year and what we saw tonight is probably what we want. Yeah. I guess we probably want Trent Frazier taking the majority of the shots and Kofi. We just made a lot of stupid mistakes. DeMonte Williams, who kept us in the game with a lot of his rebounding and stuff, like that foul was a backbreaker, even though I did miss both free throws, I guess, so it didn't matter that much. But we just made a lot of small mistakes like that. And I do think getting the transfers more up to speed. The guy Plummer, I think, will probably end up being a little better than what he showed tonight. Getting him more involved because that's his thing. He's a bit of a scorer, shooter type. So maybe that'll help.
Well, we're going to need it because they're not adjusting well to the loss of Io to the draft. I hope because I don't think Curbelo was that player. I think he is very good and a good playmaker, but he was playing outside of himself. He was trying to do way too much. I'm hoping when Kofi comes back, he can get back to his more comfortable role of playing pick and roll and distributing and making, easy layups and getting other people involved. I think he's much better at that. But there's a huge, huge hole, especially late in games, as someone that can take and make big shots. And I am worried about it. I hope they can recover. Some positives, I would say, I like Coleman Hawkins. I think he played pretty well. I think he's got a lot of size. Put on a lot of size. He has really great length.
It's very versatile.
Yeah, I think he didn't shoot very well for most of the game either, but I like what he brings.
Omar Payne's a big
the guy from Florida. Omar
needed a backup big, and he
I think he'll be good. Role. Yeah, he transferred from Florida. I hope the guy from Utah can provide some scoring.
But he scored like 17, 18 a game last year. So you would think.
Hopefully, there are a lot of new pieces, and they've lost an All-American, so I'll give them a pass to get adjusted, but
they're not going to be better than they were last year. Io's once in a 20-year player for a college program like Illinois.
And
we're not Duke. We don't get those guys. He was legitimately could have been an argument. He was the national player of the year last year. Those guys don't just come along that often.
And we both love him. Illinois doesn't get players like that. We love him as we loved watching him. And I underestimate him even then. I didn't expect him to adjust to the NBA this quick. He is a massive, massive loss. So we'll see. I hope we're good. I hope we can play for the Big Ten, although after tonight, we'll see. I still think we're in a good spot. I think we should be a ranked team most of the year, but I don't know if, top 10. I don't know if that's gonna be
maybe
in the cards.
I don't know. It's hard to take much at this point in the year from any team. We're definitely not one of the 5 or 6 best teams, probably, but
and we're down our best player, so that's definitely a huge factor. Let's talk as we record this. Monday Night Football is going on. The Rams are at the 49ers. I am not watching it. I'm not sure if you are. I have my phone.
I don't have it on right now.
Both occupied right now. At the half, it was 21-7. San Francisco. I hate to say I told you so. I love the Rams. But McVay and Kyle Shanahan were on the same coaching staff in Washington, and he just knows them really well. They just play close games. He coaches against them well, and it's been a problem.
24-7, almost the end of the third quarter. So my question for you is, you think this is a situational loss? You're worried as a whole, Super Bowl contender-wise, from what you've seen in this game? Is anything about this a red flag?
We haven't recorded since the Saturday news. We talked about Odell Beckham. They lost Robert Woods to a torn ACL on Saturday. He's not even as a receiver, just as a team captain, as a leader on that team. Everything that he does, that is a massive, massive loss. That's for sure concerning. As much as a wide receiver being out for the year can be concerning, I would say a very underrated skill, or it's becoming more publicized. It feels like the last couple of years, he's a very good run blocker, a willing run blocker as a receiver, and just a chain mover. I think they're going to miss him a lot. I am happy we have Odell. Hopefully that works. He gets integrated in, but it is a situational type loss on the road against this team that they don't play very well, but there is a little concern for me. I think the Super Bowl is still the upside, but definitely
the thing about it is, and we're going to get to it, probably should head off the top. We're going to do a college football style ranking for the NFL. So college football playoffs sort of.
Yeah, it's redundant.
The NFL playoff committee.
The NFL football playoff, as redundant as that is, we're going to, based on resume, based on eye test, based on everything, we'll do our ranking and put that out. Go ahead.
We'll see what you think in those rankings, I guess. But the thing that I gathered from doing those rankings is like, there's potential, and I've said this, 2 weeks in a row. Maybe none of the teams are good. Maybe all the teams are bad. Maybe they all stink. I don't think I've ever seen this lack of a team sort of pulling away at this point of the year, like showing to be a dominant team. Usually there's at least one or two that are.
I feel like there's a dominant team thus far, and we'll talk about it. They're my number one team. Yeah. I think
we probably have the same number one team, but I
would hesitate to call them dominant.
Yeah.
Okay. Before you get off,
we have different number one teams, I think. But we have different number one teams.
Okay. Before we get off the Monday Night Football game, one thing that they do still have, and they'll have to lean on even more, is Cooper Kupp in this game. He's been, without a doubt, the best receiver in the NFL this year. Can we say another player has come close? It's not even close.
No, statistically, it's not even close. Probably just generally, it's not even close.
He has
talent wise, do I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL? No. But performance this year, it's not.
The situation that he's in, the connection he has with Stafford. We're 10 games in. He already has 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I mean, he's gonna have ridiculous stats.
I mean, is he on pace to set the record for receiving yards? Or receiving touchdowns either?
Didn't
really
Moss set that? It was like 21. Is that right? I think Moss in that year.
That's Tom Brady. Fucking ton.
So maybe
probably not.
Maybe I'm thinking of.
Let's see.
Maybe. Yeah. Look what Randy Moss had that year. Maybe it was 16 or 18 or something. Maybe I'm thinking of rushing. It was in the 20s. But Calvin Johnson has the receiver yards record. I think that's 1950 something.
Randy Moss had 23. Fuck, that's a lot.
That's so many touchdowns. So probably not.
How many does he have right now?
I think he has 10 without the game tonight, and he hasn't scored tonight.
Get an extra game though, so maybe 1964 is the receiving yards. So
with Woods out, it's in play. I guess
it's not totally out of play. It's not totally out of play.
Yeah, but it got us thinking while we're talking about Kupp. It got us thinking: who are the best white receivers of all time? The first one that came to my mind was Jordy Nelson, just because it was in the time when I was growing up, watching a ton of football. He was excellent with Rodgers on the Packers. We're talking Kupp's the number one receiver this year in the NFL. Was Nelson ever that, or has any white receiver ever been in that conversation?
In the time we've been watching football, so to be fair to any older people watching this, we never watched Fred Biletnikoff or Steve Largent or Lance Allworth, obviously. A lot of those guys, resume-wise, probably comparative to the guys they played against, are better for sure in there. But it's kind of useless for us to talk about them because we've never watched them play.
I have nothing to speak of. I know Biletnikoff has a college award named after him.
Mm-hmm.
They killed the time that they played in. That's all.
By all accounts, very good players, but we could not provide any real analysis of any of those guys. Yeah. So we're going to stick to 21st. It should probably be readjusted. Best white receivers of the 21st century.
Yeah. So,
Lance Allworth, was it even integrated then? So it's
right. You don't
matter that you're the best white receiver if there's no black wide receivers.
Count.
So the first guy that came to my mind was Wes Welker.
Yeah, he was the other one.
Those are the two big. I guess Edelman. That's kind of the holy trinity. When I look at all-time receiving yards, a guy that was surprisingly very high up there, and it's just a product of playing forever is Amendola. I don't think he's in the tier of those other three guys, but just longevity-wise, he's up there.
Yeah, and he's still in the league. Honestly, he's still, I don't know, maybe like in Houston or something. He still playing the game. Still racking up those.
You did it.
Punt return yards.
Don't get CTE for the Houston Texans. That's just not worth it.
Please don't.
You're incredibly handsome. Just go be on television.
Just go be hot and be a host or something, dude.
Do like keeping up with the Amendolas. Like, why not?
But yeah, so Julian Edelman, Super Bowl MVP. He was never. Welker was never, because they don't play that role. They were just
Julian Edelman ever a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL?
10,
probably
12? I don't know.
Probably top 10 at some point, but
really?
Yeah, probably maybe at some point. I don't know though. I don't know. I don't have the evidence in front of me.
Jordy Nelson, pull up Jordy Nelson's Football Reference, because he had a couple years of touchdowns where he had like 12 or 14 touchdowns. He had some really big years in his prime with the Packers. So I would say Kupp has to be number one. Can we put him there yet?
I think so. He had a season of 15 touchdowns. His age 26 season, and 14 his age 31 season. His high for receiving yards was 15-19.
He was a dog. He was good. A really good player.
Yeah, I think
it helped playing with Aaron Rodgers in his prime.
I think I would need him to put together a few more seasons before I put him over Nelson, and probably over Welker. Like, Welker led the league in receptions a couple times, I would imagine, right?
Yeah,
maybe
that's
close. Fair. Let's see.
I think
he led the league in receptions 3 times and had 111 and 118 in seasons where he did not.
If Kupp doesn't get injured this season, he'll have the best individual single season of any of these players, probably. Although Nelson did score a ton of touchdowns. He would have to stay on this pretty strong pace, but he has every chance to have the best individual single season of any of these players.
Yeah, if he has 10 touchdowns already and he's got 1,000 yards, he's going to blow any of these Nelson seasons out of the water.
Yeah, especially with Woods out now. And I mean, there's just no chance he doesn't get 10 or 12 targets a game. He'll be the number one target in the red zone. Yeah, I can't imagine he doesn't have like 1,600 yards and 14 or 15 touchdowns.
Yeah,
probably right. Nearly a floor if he doesn't get hurt. I mean, he's going to be the offense. So
they're going to need some Odell, some Tyler Higbee. That's the other thing, though. Can they key on him more now, though? Not that that'll make a ton of difference, but will defenses be able to just say, hey, anyone but him beat us? They're going to need Odell to play like Odell has at his best and not at his worst.
Yeah, that's fair. I think at some point, I mean, like, how do you –
Wes Welker was pretty solid there for a while, huh?
Yeah, he was really good. And shouts out to professional athletes named Wes, so really inspiring to be a boy.
Yeah.
How do you take dust off the old tape and throw the Rams tape into game plan for them and be like, why don't we take Kupp out of this?
The rest of these offensive players aren't as good as him.
I mean, they're pretty good, but like Kupp is just torching everywhere. Like I don't know.
Yeah. It's like it seems so easy, and you're like. And it's
I don't know anything.
Like
when
the Patriots do stuff, it's like Bill Belichick. He does what we're thinking, right? He's like, "Hey, we just don't let the best player beat us in all these games." And it's like we won 6 Super Bowls. So to us, we're like, we also think that. And obviously, like the actual intricacies of making that happen is a little different. But it just seems like here's the defense we call. There's always 2 guys on him.
Seems too easy. Yeah.
Seems like a good start.
I think we have to go Nelson, Welker, and then Edelman and Kupp is probably pretty close. It's dealer's choice on what you.
I think the
longevity,
the playoff stuff for Edelman probably. You got any just random shout out wide receivers that obviously are not in this discussion, but just guys that you want to blast from the past guys? My first thought is Drew Bennett from the Titans. He's
Oh God, how can I? The greatest show. Who's the slot receiver for the Rams?
Ricky Prohl.
Ricky
Prohl, pretty good.
Shout out Ricky Prohl. Shout out
guy that had 1 million concussions for the Colts. Got a concussion like every single year. Austin Collie. Shout out to Austin Collie.
Shout out Austin. Shout out Austin Collie. Shout out Brandon Stokely. Shout out. I just lost it. Shout out Eric Decker. Shout out.
Eric Decker.
Oh, I just had someone on.
Ooh, Adam Thielen. He's a good current wide receiver.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. He should be in the probably back half of that top 10-ish.
Yeah, 21st century probably. Probably.
Others.
That's all I got right now. I'm sure there's some people listening to this that are just screaming certain guys'
Yeah,
names.
probably. Hey, you know what you should do? Go to the old Twitter account. Tweet us or leave us a comment on the YouTube video. Who's your favorite rando white receiver?
Yeah, favorite random white receiver of all time.
You just love watching grind. Love watching them grind out there.
There's a certain receiver, Buffalo Bills. We're not going to talk about him. Fuck him.
Oh yeah,
current Bills receiver. Fuck that.
Love him.
Former Cowboy. That guy fucking sucks.
Yeah, he does suck.
He's the fucking worst.
Ooh, I was gonna say Dallas Clark, but he's just a tight end.
That's the thing that I think when I looked at this list of like best, I was like, all these guys are just tight ends. All the really good ones, like Jason Witten, Dallas Clark, Travis Kelce. They all just like all these guys that were probably used to would have just been big possession wide receivers are now just tight ends that never block, that are just
like essentially
still just wide receivers.
Like Jordy Nelson, he's just like Kyle Pitts, just
kind of. Yeah.
He's like they just call him a tight end. He just plays receiver. Like he's just big and fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do this. I don't know. It won't necessarily be white red receivers, but it got brought up that you mentioned something about Odell Beckham on the last episode, and like at his peak, his skill level, you said that he was maybe top 10 of the past since the 2000s. So maybe
the last 10 years, for sure. Over the last 20, I don't know.
The last 20, you get really, really good players since 2000.
Yeah, the last 20, no. The last 10, I would say for sure.
It's an argument. He's in the fringe
at his peak area. At his peak, he was
good.
A very well-rounded, didn't have any weaknesses into his game type of wide receiver.
Let's talk of the past 10 years, just real quick. Easy, Julio Jones, number one for me.
Julio's number one. Not even close. Maybe it's close, but I don't think so. Devontae Adams is up there.
Adams is really,
Tyreek Hill is not played all 10, but is probably still in the discussion. Just because of how, I mean, he's got the most touchdowns of anyone in their first 4 years or something like that. Most receiving touchdowns, I think.
Yeah, he's very good. Larry Fitzgerald, do we throw him in there?
He's probably two.
This year. He's not playing this year.
Two. But... Well, this is, not 2010 to 2020, new decade.
Yeah, just the last 10.
Yeah, he's for sure in there just because of.
Not
to take anything. He was really good also.
We can't put. I think we still got to put Julio one, but maybe not. Antonio Brown might be number one. I think he's number one.
I would leave Julio still, but
dude was better than Julio statistically for like 5 straight years. Like he was so nuts, but when he was in his prime on the Steelers, he was just a machine.
Yeah,
I think those two are 1 and 2 in both first ballot Hall of Famers, both of them.
I agree. My separation would be if you are starting a team with a draft, which player are you going to take? Because I'm going to take Julio.
Yeah,
I think Julio fits in. I think Julio fits into any system you could possibly. Not that Antonio Brown doesn't, but like scheme, quarterback will affect Antonio Brown a little more than Julio in my mind.
Also, I don't know what ages they both are, but Antonio Brown's also lasting longer than Julio.
Yeah,
Julio's been a complete zero this entire year. Although Antonio Brown is hurt now, he's been better this year than Julio. But
Antonio Brown also effectively got like 2.5 years off in the middle of this.
True.
So.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
a little fewer reps. He just basically didn't play for 3 years or whatever it was.
There'll be a chapter in that book that we skipped to called the Oakland years.
Yeah,
book, 20 years from now.
There's some other team. He played for like the Raiders too, right? But he didn't actually play for the Raiders.
Yeah, he played for the Oakland Raiders.
Oh wait,
he signed there, and then he went to New England for like 2 games.
That's what I'm thinking of. Ooh,
he's followed Tom around.
Maybe it's not. Yeah, that's probably 2000 to 2010. Andre Johnson, just shout him out, but that's probably
that
10 years previous.
That was a expansion team, and they were dog shit for probably his entire career, right? Can't.
He was probably on some of those teams at the very end when they were like the TJ Yates wild card game type of teams. But
yeah, maybe. Yeah, he was sick, and they were always really, really bad though. So shouts out to him.
But yeah, that's probably more the previous decade.
Yeah, probably.
Since 2010 though, yeah, I mean, I think we got the guys.
The top 5-ish, at least. It's hard to nail down the back half, but all right, fun times. Anything else in the NFL this week catch your eye?
Here you go. I got a little list. Let's see what you think. Best wide receivers of the 2010s. Calvin Johnson. You still probably got to put him in there. Even though he retired in 2014 or 15, he set the record for receiving yards in the 2010s. So, Larry Fitz, Hopkins. We forgot to talk about Hopkins. He's one of the best to ever do it. Solid player.
That's good.
This has Odell 8th, AJ Green, Des Bryant 6 and 7.
Sure.
AJ Green at his peak was very good. Des Bryant also very good at his peak. I think I'll take Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones over those guys. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, people don't maybe because they don't like Tyreek Hill because of some of his off the field stuff, but people underestimate how good he is and where he is going to start to slot in all time among receivers.
I think people also just assume it's like he's just a full on Mahomes.
It's like a
sort of beneficiary.
And also, yeah, he's so small. It's almost like he's a little gadgety type. Like he's not he's not.
It's just like you can't actually play football. You're just really fast, and Patrick Mahomes throws you the ball.
Yeah,
which is
exactly
kind of true. But
I mean, there's an element to that. But he's
still got to score the touchdowns and catch the balls. Like
I think he might have had a few early in the year. He hasn't had a catch over 20 yards in like a month and a half. So he's getting it done in other ways this season as well. So put some respect on his name. He's one of the best of the past, however long, 5 years. Anything in the NFL that you want to talk about? I guess we're going to do a ranking, so I don't want to get too deep into these individual games.
I mean, like what were some of the big takeaways this week?
We got our first.
We had another sort of weird week where a lot of favorites lost. Like
we got our first tie.
Oh, the fucking Lions! At least they're not going to go over. But fuck, you talk about a game from about the middle of the third quarter. You're like, this game should be a tie. This is an absolute abomination. This is an absolute abomination of a football game. What the fuck? And I guess the other big one is, or the big two are Tampa Bay and Arizona, sort of getting handled, kind of.
Let's just do the ranking. We're gonna do the NFL ranking if it was the college football playoff. So we're gonna have the 4 teams in that would be in the playoff, and then we'll rank our 5 through 10 as well, and we'll give our reasons why. It's based on, like the college, it's based on resume, eye test. What else have you based it on? Obviously win-loss record.
Those 2 things, I guess. I think this will be a fun exercise in like what you really value in this type of situation. I guess when it comes to the college football, like what do you actually think matters in this type of situation? So it might get a little philosophical, maybe, which would be fun.
Yeah. Well, how do you want to unveil our first ranking for this? We'll do this every week. We'll update it based on the games that happen. How do you want to reveal it?
I guess we can just kind of go back and forth, right? Is that the best way to do it?
I mean, like, do you want to do like the?
Let's just do top 10. We both did our top 10. Let's just go 10 to 1.
Okay. At 10, I have the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Baltimore Ravens. Very unimpressive on Thursday night. Lost on the road on a short week. Not the biggest deal, but right now I don't think they're in a top 5 consideration. I think they're a fine team, a good team, a very flawed team that doesn't have a real chance to win a Super Bowl at this point.
There are 8 teams that I think can win the Super Bowl. They are not one of them. I do have them on my list. I have them 9th. They're not the 10th best team, but I think they just have too many flaws. They're as injured as any team in the NFL at this point. They're super banged up. I do think Lamar's looked pretty good this year, all things considered. I think he's looked maybe one of his better seasons passing, which in comparison to some of his other seasons, maybe not be saying that much. But I think Lamar's been great. I think he's basically the only reason that they're not 2 or 3 games under 500 as opposed to 3 games over 500.
Yeah, probably.
So, I had them 9th. My 10th team I had as a team that I did not anticipate ever being in this position the entire season. I did not anticipate putting them this high in any type of ranking, but I have the New England Patriots as my 10th best team right now.
They are my 9th team. So we have those flip-flops.
So we're
9 and 10
there.
I've been very impressed. Like, what else can you say? They've been pretty damn good. They've been very impressive. Yeah. Mac Jones is managing the game like you thought he would. He's made a handful of impressive throws per game, and they're winning games.
He's played better than I ever anticipated him playing his rookie year. Like he's game manager plus right now. He's doing a little bit more.
He's doing the plus for sure.
It seems like all these defensive moves they made in the offseason, they basically hit on all of them. All those guys are playing great, it seems. Judon was an awesome signing. He's been incredible. Some of the guys they have on the outside on defense have looked pretty good. So
J.C. Jackson, who is going to be a free agent, he's great. He's top 10 corner in the league. He's been very good. So, I have the Patriots at 9.
Belichick or Brady, who'd you rather have? Let's get it back going. Let's fire it back up, baby.
Yeah. I have them above the Ravens. I have them above the Ravens just because they've been more impressive recently, I suppose. I don't have any real strong takes on like resume or anything, but they're on I think 3 or 4 game win streak. The Ravens just lost to the Dolphins. Like, I think they're not that far away from each other, so I just put them one spot ahead.
Yeah, I think just the Lamar factor just lets me put the Ravens a little bit higher, just the ceiling that he provides in a given week. I would just put him a little bit higher would be my rationale there.
That's fair. Who do you have at 8?
My 8th team, a team that I will not quit, a team that I just cannot give up on, a team that's resume just doesn't constitute them being on here, but it's the college football thing. It's like you got the little Clemson next to your name, you got the little Alabama next to your team, Kansas City Chiefs, number 8.
I have them at 8 as well. They beat Green Bay without Rodgers, so they have that win that isn't overly impressive to me. They were not impressive in that game, but they are 6-4. They've won 3 or 4 straight after.
They looked great on Sunday night.
Oh yeah. Oh,
they looked incredible. They looked
steamrolled Las Vegas.
They looked OG Chiefs on Sunday night. As far as I know, the Raiders weren't really missing anyone on defense, were they?
I don't believe so. Nothing.
I mean, they were the Raiders defense has been, pretty respectable the whole season, and they looked OG Chiefs. They went in there and rained hell down on them. So
we have our criticism of them has been, it's not even of them. It's been of the lines that you've had to bet for them. They've been awful against the spread, but they're still winning these games. They're just not covering 7, 8, 9, 10 points. They beat Green Bay. They've won some other games. They've won like 3 or 4 games in a row after some really bad losses.
The thing is the last night's game was obviously very impressive, but the other games were like Packers at home without Rodgers, Washington.
Right, they've been ugly.
And they've like a team that is, built around high octane offense is winning games like 17-10. You know what I mean? Which is not super doesn't instill a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So we'll move to 7, and from here, Chiefs on up, we both think can win the Super Bowl. All of these teams.
Yes,
I agree. It'll just be what the order we have them in, and who we have in the top 4. So at 7, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, I have the Buffalo Bills.
Okay. Is it? I don't want to say time to panic, but they've off a bye got pretty handled by Washington on the road. That's concerning. Their defense is still a huge concern. Yeah, if they can get some guys back, I think there's no way you can put them in your playoff right now, but they'll have their chances to make their way into that conversation down the road. Tom Brady and the rest. Vita Vea did get carted off. That's another huge blow to their defense. The panic button has been removed from the desk. It's neatly sitting in the corner. We're not pushing it yet, but they need to get healthy if they're going to be the same team they were last year.
Yeah, I completely agree. The reason I think I have them one spot is just the Tom Brady factor. At the end of the day, Tom Brady's won Super Bowls with probably worse teams than this. Teams that at this point in the year were probably looked worse than this. Certain past teams that, I mean, on paper, kind of fucking stunk. And I guess you add the Belichick into that too, however much value you put into that. But I don't know. I think they still have a pretty good shot. And I do think there is an element when you are a Tom Brady-led team of like, we're not so concerned with the wins and losses right now. We're concerned about getting it absolutely perfect in February and making sure it's all exactly right. So if we have to sacrifice a few week 9, 8, 10 losses here, we'll do that. But I'm not ready to hit the panic button on them yet just because of Tom Brady. But I have them one spot ahead.
Me either.
So
it crossed my mind. Panic
so the team I had here,
I think we'll be fine though. Who do you have?
The team I had here was the Buffalo Bills, who I've been saying all year long, on paper, when they're right, probably maybe the best team in the NFL. You could make the argument, but for this exercise with the resume, their losses are so bad that they have to be down here.
You can't go to Kansas and lose and be in the playoff. You just can't.
Correct. You can't lose to the Jaguars. Yeah, correct.
You can't go and put up 6 points against Jacksonville and expect to be in the playoff. They'll have their chances. They can get there for sure. But it's just, I agree. I do have them at 5, so I have them a few spots higher than you, but they're not in my playoff either. You just can't.
No, just the resume for an exercise. Like we say this every week in the college football playoff rankings come out. It's like the games have to matter at some point. Like for this type of, like, do I think they're the 8th best team? No, I do not. I think there's at least 2 or 3 of these teams that I'm about to say that I for sure think they're better than. Still, even some teams that have beat them, there's some of these teams that have beat them, I still think they're better than those teams. But got to go off the resume. The game's got to matter for something like this. The team that has played the best, they have not played top 7 football in the NFL, in my opinion, up to this point.
Yeah, I have them 5. I think they could go in any order, but I have them at 5 for now. Let's see. At 6, so it's hard to take injuries and things into account. I do have the Rams at 6. They're not in my playoff at this point. They were beat up last week by the Titans. They are getting their ass kicked on the road in division against a 3-6 San Francisco team as we record this. They just lost Robert Woods. You can add these star players all you want, but the game's got to matter. They haven't looked good recently. I don't think they deserve to be in the top 4.
Okay. A lot of these teams, I think there's 3 teams that, in my opinion, you for sure have to have in the playoff at this point. I don't know if you agree with that, just resume-wise. And then after that, I think it's a little bit of a dealer's choice. I don't know if you agree.
I know what you're saying. I think the 4th team I have in I think you're right. I think the top 3 is fairly solid, and then the 4th, I think that's probably well
because
said. Is a pick your poison. You have the Rams at 4.
I did. So at 6, I had the Bucks. We already talked about the Bucks. So then I'll go 5. My 5 team, who wins and losses should probably be up here, but their loss is so bad that I have them at 5. I have Dallas 5th.
Okay, so you have the Rams at 4.
I have the Rams 4th, just because I still am not a full believer in that Dallas defense. Like, it's a little pick and choose with what you're choosing to, I guess, the games matter. The games also matter because Dallas got their fucking doors blown off by the Broncos on their home field. So that's pretty much as bad a loss as most any team has on here except for the Bills. So, and then I guess losing to Washington this week for the Bucks. But I have the Cowboys at 5. I think they're good. I just question in a playoff scenario, maybe in a cold weather game at the Packers or at, I guess that's really the only NFC team they would have to go play that would be cold. But I just question the, grinded out type of winning that you need late in the season from the Cowboys.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. I'm a believer. I think I have the Cowboys at 4 and the Rams, or no, sorry, the Rams at 6, the Bills at 5. I have the Cowboys at 4. I think I'm just more willing to look or overlook that Broncos loss and just write it off. They laid an egg. Dak was coming back off an injury, just kind of flush it. It helps that they responded and beat Atlanta by 40 this week. I think that says a lot about where they're at. I think they're fine. And then their only other loss, they're 7-2. Their only other loss in the season is week 1, a 2-point loss to the defending champs on Thursday Night Football in the first game of the year. So 7-2, they do have the best record of that group of teams. I think I'll just reward that, and I'm willing to overlook the Broncos' loss after they responded well this week against Atlanta. I have them narrowly at 4, but I think 4 is a debate. You could have a few teams there.
Okay, so 4 I have the Rams, which maybe it's not surprising because you're a little more tapped into the Rams than I am, so you'd probably a little bit more overcritical, but I just think when I look at that team on paper, and it's a team that I've seen make it to a Super Bowl before with a worse roster, a worse quarterback, I just believe that they'll be able to get it done. Like if the Rams played the Cowboys in a playoff game, the Rams would be favored. Yes, probably, regardless of home field.
If it was like Super Bowl on a neutral site type of thing,
sure, yeah, that's probably better.
Or just like neutral site, because home field would be huge in a playoff game. Yeah, I don't know. Like if we do it right now, probably not.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's
if
hard
we project 7 weeks from now, Von Miller's right, Odell's integrated, the team gets healthy.
I think right now Dallas would be favored. So
I think the Von Miller element, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like when they get him integrated, because I think he's the type of guy that could make this defense look very, very scary. Yeah, and if he gets integrated and shows me something, I'll put him at 4. But for now, I'll side with Dallas. Okay.
Again, I opened the drawer. I made sure the panic button was in the drawer, and I closed it back. We're not panicking yet. I still think they're very good, but don't like the signs for the Rams getting handled the last couple of weeks. Before we move on, we're talking Rams. Jared Goff is so bad.
Whoa.
Jared Goff's incredible. Sean McVay is a genius. If people don't think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL, figure it out. Sean McVay is a genius. He took Jared Goff and pretty good, all right, Rams roster to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I guess they still had Todd Gurley at that point, I guess.
He didn't even play in the Super Bowl. He didn't even play down the stretch. His knees were gone.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was the year before when he scored like 20 touchdowns.
Do you think, this is devil's advocate, this is a take that I've seen on the internet, is there any credence to the fact that McVay had to scheme and the fact that he did try so hard to protect Jared Goff that it maybe stunted his development as a quarterback, that he didn't let him fail at any point? He basically made everything way too easy for him.
No, we saw him fail. They let him fail in his first year. Jeff Fisher, and they were awful. No, I don't think.
Well, as we've seen this year, rookie quarterbacks, you basically exclusively fail. At no point are you ever really good.
Yeah, sure. One guy every almost never. Like unless you're like Andrew Luck or even Peyton Manning, wasn't good his rookie year. You know what I mean? Yeah, no,
just something. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that or not, but something to think about. Maybe
I don't agree with that either. I think he's a very, very limited quarterback with an average arm at best, with subpar processing and ability to read and dissect the defense before and after the snap. I think he was drafted number 1 due to lack of other available options. And I think those two guys went 1 and 2, and they're, whatever. They're fine.
They're who we watch them be. They're who they are.
I don't. Anyway, so we can get up. Sean McVay, genius, took Jared Goff to the Super Bowl. Well, we can move on. Let's do our top 4. I already said I have Dallas at 4, and you have the Rams at 4. So we're all going to have the top 3 will all be the same. Finally, you have seen the light on the Tennessee Titans. Where do you have the Titans?
I've seen the light. I don't have them at 3.
I do have them at 3. You said there's been no real dominant teams. I think that the Green Bay Packers have been a dominant team. I think they've been a dominant team. They lost week 1 in a throwaway game, week 1 to the New Orleans Saints. They've won every single game since, except for a Jordan Love-led game on the road in Arrowhead, which they lost by, say, 6 points, 7 points. They're 8-2, tied for the best record. I think they're pretty clearly the best team. The one on the road in Arizona, I think they're the best team.
So you have the Packers at 1.
Packers are at 1. Arizona Cardinals at 2. Tennessee Titans at 3.
Okay.
What's your order?
I have the Packers at 3.
Really? Interesting. I don't know, Jim. They went to Arizona and won.
Yeah, they did.
3 weeks ago.
You're right. I have the...
And I can't put although I want to put Tennessee over Arizona. Arizona, although it was a month at first, I had Tennessee second and Arizona third, but the Arizona struggles recently have been due to a lack of Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I think it's more than fair to keep them at 2, assuming those 2 are healthy. And they went to Tennessee and beat them. So that was a longer time ago. But right now, at this point of the season, I'll go ahead and weight that heavier. Green Bay has to be 1. How I don't. Right? What's the case for them to not be? In your eyes? Well,
I think when I look at all these teams, Tennessee has beaten a lot of these teams that I have in this top 10.
Yeah, Tennessee has
if you're looking at strength of schedule and you're looking at quality wins, Tennessee might be number 1 if you look at it from that angle.
So you had Green Bay 3. You can't put Green Bay over Arizona. They just beat them.
Yeah, you're right.
I would hear Tennessee 1.
That's what I'm gonna do. I had the Titans at 1. You're right. I'm gonna flip the Cardinals and the Packers. So Cardinals, Packers, Titans for me.
That's fair. Yeah, they just won at the Rams. They beat the Chiefs at home. They beat the Bills. That was at home. They have the best wins, best resume as far as that goes, and they're all 3 of the teams are 8-2. So I would hear that. They haven't played heads up. If you wanted to put them 1, I think that's fair.
So, yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals, Packers, Titans. I'm going to eat crow. How many weeks ago that I was like, the Titans aren't even like a top 10 team, and now
they're
number 1 in the NFL.
I know. At that time, they were like 6-2, and I'm like, dude, they're just keep winning. Now they're 8-2. They just keep winning.
Derek Henry, they're just fine. They just keep missed the beat. Derek Henry, scheme running back?
Yeah, running backs don't matter. I don't know if you heard that. They lose Derek Henry, then all of a sudden their defense plays well. I don't understand. Maybe just do both.
The NFL doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't. They were like, if you're like, oh, I'm setting my fantasy team. Who are the worst defenses? I want to play against Tennessee. Like they were awful.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Titans is like, if we're doing this exercise, they're number 1. Would I be shocked if they lose 3 games in a row? Not really.
No.
If they lose their next 3 games, won't be surprised. If the Packers lose their 3 next games, I would be surprised. If the Cardinals are healthy and they lose their next 3 games, I would be surprised.
Yeah. But right now, I mean, their resume, speaks for itself. Tons of really good wins. I think, the Packers have to be over the Cardinals just with a head-to-head win. But if I'll hear you on Tennessee, 8-2. They're going to get Henry back at some point. The last time we did this, we ranked teams. We didn't say Tennessee can win a Super Bowl, though. Do you think they can win a Super Bowl?
If I have him here, I guess I almost kind of have to say yes. But do I think Ryan Tannehill can win a Super Bowl?
I mean, a lot of bad quarterbacks have gone to and won Super Bowls.
Who's the last one? Nick Foles?
Nick Foles. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl.
Did not win though. I feel like we see a lot of bad quarterbacks lose in the Super Bowl. When it gets to that game, when it gets to that final game, the good separate themselves from the great.
A lot of them have gone. Very few have won. I would say Nick Foles a long time ago.
Is Ryan Tannehill better than Joe Flacco was when they won the Super Bowl? Ryan Tannehill right now or Joe Flacco then? I think I'd take Flacco.
I think I probably would too. That's pretty close, though. I think that's probably
he's better than Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Again, that is the worst team Tom Brady's ever taken to a Super Bowl, probably.
Oh yeah,
probably.
They had a really good defense, but
no, they didn't. Yeah. That year they had a really bad defense because remember they gave up 40 points to Nick Foles in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I thought you meant against Goff.
No, against Foles.
Yeah. Oh, they were. Yeah, that team was bad.
They were not good at all.
I was so certain that. Ooh, I'm getting my years mixed up. The Patriots went to the Super Bowl like every year.
2017 was the year.
No, I'm thinking of the year they won the Super Bowl against the Rams. I was so certain that team wasn't awesome. I was so certain they were going to lose to the Chargers, that like divisional game, and they beat them by like 50. It was Tom Brady does magical things in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, him and Bill, good combo. Pretty good coach player, 1-2 punch.
Best quarterback, best coach.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, well, so yeah, that's the year they played fucking Jacksonville in the AFC title game. So, and Jacksonville completely blew the fucking game. So, what can you do?
In 17
or 17-18 was that year?
Yeah. I'm thinking of the 2 years
18,
later.
19.
Yeah,
because they went back to back.
I have no other talk I want to do on the NFL for this week. I do want to see though how this game is going because I'm not watching it.
I believe they're getting handled.
Yeah, 31-7.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Whoops.
Folks, the milk's gone sour.
Whoops. Do you want to slide the Rams down? Do I want to slide the Rams down? I'm higher than you do. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm good on the Rams. I have them at 6.
I don't know. We'll
reevaluate next week.
How much of this is right now? How much of this is week 18? What do you think? So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a tough exercise, but it's fun.
I'm done on football talk. I do want to talk before we get out of here. There was a debate online today. So Taylor Swift just put out her re-recorded music. It was her Red album. She re-recorded it. She added a few more tracks. There was a debate online today comparing Taylor Swift and Whitney Houston. I would like your thoughts comparing the two in whatever way you'd like to. Vocally, as a performer, as an artist, what are your thoughts on those two? First of all, are you a fan of Taylor Swift?
Don't dislike, not a fan, but no, nothing against her. Think she's very good at making music.
Okay, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
Whitney Houston may be the best singer in the history of humanity. So that's a check for Whitney Houston. She may be the best singer that's ever lived among anyone of all time. Check for her. I think Taylor might have the advantage in terms of playing instruments, in terms of composing music, in terms of creating songs. They're both top tier, multi-platinum female artists, I guess. But in terms of the type of the music they make, I guess they're both about love and connection and losing people, but they're very different types of music. So it's kind of hard to compare. Sorry, I can't really first take this up for you, but here's the take. Music's kind of subjective. So whatever your taste is who you kind of like.
Yeah. It's hard to. So Whitney Houston lived in a time where the success for albums is going to show better as far as like what she sold and how many like records and everything.
That's not like, even if it is like sports, like it's like comparing fucking Bill Russell. It's the numbers don't.
Taylor has so much like digital and stuff now, so it just doesn't really
something. I don't know the numbers, but I bet Whitney Houston still does crazy fucking streams now. I bet she still
Probably.
does. Absolutely crazy fucking streams.
I do want to dance with somebody.
I mean,
I want to feel the heat with her.
She has, you know, she's up there with Michael Jackson, Prince. Like she could do a top hits and put 50 fucking songs on there, and every song would be an absolute fucking slap.
Yeah, there's like
Taylor Swift's got a lot of good songs too, though.
There's gonna be like 5 or 10, probably like a good like core 5 songs of Whitney Houston that you're gonna play 100 years from now, and they're gonna be bangers. They're gonna be all time, like forever music, I would say. So the debate online was basically arguing the success of the two, and there's just no comparing their vocal talent, in my opinion. I think it's like
Taylor Swift's a fine singer. Whitney Houston is the best singer,
the best maybe of all time. Yeah, I think like her and like Adele and like I don't know of like modern who would be in that kind of Mariah Carey. I'm trying to think of good singers, but yeah, I think probably
like
almost
an all-around musician,
better songwriter and musician. Yeah,
you know, creating a atmosphere and a vibe to all of her music. You know, like storytelling. Taylor Swift's as good as it gets in modern pop music. You know what I mean?
I was trying to compare them to like athletes. Like Whitney Houston is like the 4 to like the Deion say, I don't know, like the 4.2 40 is just like all world, all time athlete. But I don't want to like be like, oh, but like wasn't skilled. It was like all right. It's all athlete type of thing. And then Taylor Swift's like the crafty, like Tom Brady-ish, like not the biggest arm ever, but just like all around. I don't know. Maybe sometime we can compare musicians to athletes. I was hoping you have a really good knowledge of older athletes too.
So I guess like it depends who you think is better. But you know what I mean? It's so easy to just say this number of championships, this many points per game, this player efficiency, yada, yada.
Yeah.
X is better than Y. Music, that's harder to do. But I understand what you're saying.
More like,
you know,
like Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston's like a LeBron, a Wilt Chamberlain, a Shaquille O'Neal. Just an
Shaquille O'Neal's a good
fucking
Shaquille O'Neal's
force.
Just a force, yes.
An absolute fucking freak show.
And Taylor Swift's more like a Tom Brady.
Taylor Swift's fucking Larry Bird.
There you go.
If we do Larry Bird, maybe.
Shaq, Larry Bird, I like that. If we do only basketball.
You know, they're both probably top 15 all time. You know, at her peak, Whitney Houston's just so fucking dominant. What a force. Taylor Swift, you know, she's a 5-tool player though, you know. She's got all the skills. Yeah, exactly. She's not going to blow you away with her voice, but she's pretty good. Yeah,
I think Larry Bird and Shaq is really good. I like that. I knew you could do it. I knew you could do it with the NBA. I was trying to think of it. I wanted to compare. Maybe we can do more of these sometime. It's very stupid and very dumb, but it could be fun.
Hey, this whole thing's pretty stupid and pretty dumb.
This whole thing we're doing is really dumb.
Pretty much talk about grown men playing games for little children for an hour, 3 hours a week. So
grown men talking about other grown men playing games for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And you're listening to it.
Oh, it's coming through the internet and you're watching it and you're hearing it. It's a fucking weird world we're living in.
Yeah.
What is this?
We're having fun though.
Yeah,
we're having fun doing it. Anything else before we take off? Get used to this format. We're going to be doing this. We will not be together for probably a couple weeks because we do
holidays coming up. So we'll be doing some remote podding. We will not be in the Chicago studio / our kitchen for a little while. So.
Yeah. If anyone needs something thrown in the oven, it's right there. If we need to run over, we have a sink. We have a sink now. If anyone needs,
got a sink, new countertops, pretty good.
Our studio's coming pretty far. New sink, new countertops. What does your studio have?
Yeah,
pretty fancy.
Colin Cowherd, your move.
Getting out of here.
You were about an hour. Probably about time to hit the dusty trail.
We're talking Bachelorette tomorrow, episode 5 or 6.
I'm in the St. Louis area, unconfirmed. Maybe
Ooh.
watching with Bobby, recording with
There you
Bobby.
go.
We will see.
That would be really fun. Let's try to make that happen.
We'll try and make it happen. We'll see what
All right. We'll see you for that episode. Thanks for listening to this. We will see you next time.
Bye.